Hi, I'm Kristy. Welcome to Weird and Witchy Shit, a place for, well, weird and witchy shit. Here we talk about everything from the magic of yoga, rituals, tarot, crystals, astrology, self-love, mental health, spiritual stuff, spooky things, and anything of the mystical variety. So if that sounds like the kind of shit you're into, then you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the coven. Hi and welcome to the first episode of my series, Astrology Mythology. I'm very proud of that name. So within this Astrology Mythology series, we are going to be discussing the mythology of astrology. Can you believe it? So kicking off this series, and for the following 11 episodes, we are going to be going around the zodiac wheel, starting at Aries, which we're doing today, and travelling around the 12 signs of the zodiac and diving a little bit into the mythology behind these signs. And without further ado, let's just get into it. So, like I said, today we are talking about the astrology sign Aries. So, first we'll start with a couple of facts about Aries. So, it is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries season is between March 21st and April 19th. So if you're born between those times, you are an Aries sun sign. It is worth keeping in mind that your sun sign is just one teeny tiny little fraction of astrology and of your whole birth chart. So if you don't really super relate to your sun sign, it might be because maybe you relate closer to your rising sign typically, or it can also depend on all the other placements and pulls of your personal birth chart. So Aries is a fire sign and it is of positive polarity, meaning that it's a masculine sign. It is also a cardinal sign, which means that it marks the beginning of a new season, and for Aries this is spring. The ruling planet for Aries is Mars, and the tarot card associated with Aries is the Emperor. Some keywords that are strongly associated with Aries are assertive, ambitious, impulsive, headstrong, aggressive, motivated, and fearless. So Aries is symbolised by the ram, and the ram is actually a golden fleeced ram by the name of kristysyogacoven. If you're not new to this channel, you know that my pronunciation is definitely not great. I'm blaming the Glaswegian accent, it just makes everything a lot harder to say. So the story of the Aries ram begins with Theophane, a very beautiful princess, as they all are very beautiful princesses in these stories. And because she was so beautiful, a lot of men, quote unquote, wanted to marry her, and not only mortal men but of course gods as well, and one god in particular. This was Poseidon. In order for Poseidon to have his way with her, he decided to abduct her and he carried her off to the island of Cromissa. But this didn't stop all these thirsty boys from chasing after her, because soon all these men made their way over to Cromissa to try and find Theophane. Maybe Theophane. But Poseidon, being one step ahead of them and taking a leaf out of Zeus's playbook, decided that he wasn't going to let the object of his desire get away that easy. So he turned her into a beautiful ewe, and he turned himself into a beautiful ram. This way he could have his way with her without being seen. It didn't really matter that they were in sheep form. That doesn't matter too much to gods. Not only that, he also turned all of the people of Cromissa into cattle as well. I assume probably because he didn't trust them to keep their mouths shut, that he was there and, you know, a ram now. Or maybe he just thought that it would be harder to find him and Theophane amongst all the other cattle Who knows? So when all these obsessed guys came looking for theophane, all they found was a whole city of cattle. But they were tired and they had travelled for a long time, so they decided to set up camp and stay for a little while there before heading off home. And while they were there, they started to get hungry. I think you can see where this is going. They decided to cook and eat all the animals that they came across on the island, not knowing that they were actually islanders from that island. And when Poseidon realised what had happened, he turned all of these men into wolves. Anyway, the very brief relationship between theophane and Poseidon resulted in the birth of a child, and this would be the ram that we associate with Aries. And the birth of this ram came in very handy for some, such as King Athamas, who married the nymph Nephele. Together they had 2 children, which is Phrixus, a son, and a daughter, Helle. Ultimately, their relationship would end up not working out and the children stayed with their dad. I don't know if this was a sole custody type deal or they were staying with their mum on the weekends. I'm not entirely sure. But eventually the king remarried Ino, and I'm not one to cause rumours, but apparently she was actually the cause of his marriage declining. Anyway, she got her man, but that wasn't enough for her because she was the absolute stepmother from hell. She hated her 2 stepkids with a passion, and she was super jealous that the king's firstborn Phrixus would be the heir to his throne. Obviously, this meant that now any children she was to have with him would never actually get to be the heir unless something happened to his existing children. So this led to several attempts of her trying to kill Phrixus by force or by trickery. Nephele, seeing this from the clouds, she sent the golden ram to rescue her children, and the plan was for them to ride on the ram's back across the Black Sea and to the furthest point of Earth from Ino. I'm so sorry. Anyway, to get her children as far away from the bitch as possible. But while flying across the Black Sea, however, Helle lost her grip and she actually fell to her death, and at the point where she fell into the sea and died is still known as Helle's Point. The ram did, however, manage to save Phrixus and got him safely to land. The ram, fearless as he was, told Phrixus what it was that he must do next. He told him that he should kill and sacrifice him to honour the god and his father Poseidon. So Phrixus done just that. He slayed the ram for Poseidon, but he kept the ram's golden fleece. In honour to his son, Poseidon made sure that he would live on in the stars as the constellation Aries. And the story of this golden fleece continues when Phrixus actually gifts the golden fleece to King Aries for his daughter's hand in marriage. And then Jason, who I'm sure you'll know as one of the great heroes, Jason and the Argonauts, he started his quest to find this golden fleece, but I think we'll leave that for another day and we can kind of really dive into the story of Jason. So one word you will often hear describing Aries is selfish, which I guess sometimes can be true, and I'm allowed to say this because I'm an Aries moon, but another really big Aries trait is that they're actually fearless as well, and when the time comes, if they have to sacrifice themselves for good, they more often than not actually will. Selfish, perhaps. Fearless, definitely. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can get me on Instagram at kristys_coven. That's KRISTYS_coven. You can also find me on YouTube at Kristys Coven, where I post a lot of free yoga classes and shit like that. And I'd love to have you join because it's not a coven if it's just me. And until next time, bye!